This little painting is the only painting that I've ever done that I thought was at all prophetic. What do you think of prophetic art? That is my question today. Do you think this painting is prophetic, or do you think prophetic art refers to something different? So let me tell you about this painting. This painting, it's done in acrylic on canvas board. And I painted it in August 2020, right before the big fire that took out my home, 200 other homes at least, my daughter's home, my son's home. But of course, at the time of my painting, the time I created this painting, I didn't know that there was going to be a fire. I was inspired by the two cats. I was driving down the road nearby, and I saw two cats meet in the middle of the road just like that. I thought they were black cats. And I thought I would do an August painting. This is folk art, by the way. A couple years ago I was wondering what kind of an artist I am, and I decided that I am a folk artist, and I joined the Folk Art Society of America, and for the first time ever felt like I was part of something that gave me a label that was a little bit different than a solitary person sitting in a private studio making little paintings on canvas board. So I painted this in autumn colors. I thought they were autumn colors, and I was going to make a wall of folk art in my living room in the mobile home I was living in at the time. But then, less than a month later, the fire happened. And I had about an hour and a half before the fire in which I decided to try and save a lot of possessions, and of course my mind flew to my art supplies because they're rather expensive. And so this painting was unfinished actually. I was planning to do more to it, and it was sitting on my easel probably at the time, and it was a little desktop easel. I threw that into a box with a lot of other art supplies. So months after the fire, I found this painting and I thought, wow, this is prophetic. That's what I felt about it. It's got the flames. It's got the color of the fire that devoured my home. And it's got cats, which were a real issue after the fire. So, just looking for your opinions. What do you think about prophetic art in general? And so I was interested in prophetic art before the fire. Maybe that's why this happened. And I had bought this book, Born to Create, by Theresa Dedmon. And it's got a foreword by Bill Johnson, who is the pastor of Bethel Church in Redding. It says, this book unlocks people's creative God-given potential with the power of the supernatural and leading of the Holy Spirit. That's a quote from Kevin Dedmon, who I figure is a relative of the author, Theresa Dedmon. Maybe her husband, I don't know. There's a picture of her in the back. And I've never read it. Like many Christian books that I've bought, I never got around to reading this one. I'm better at buying them and collecting them than I am at actually reading them, although I try to have a Christian book in progress at all times. And so I still have this one to read. I have read another book on prophetic art. It's by Matt Tommey. Matt Tommey is the creator of a mentoring program for Christians. It's very good. It's also very expensive. I recommend it if you are a Christian and have that kind of money to spend. And I gave that book 4 stars on Goodreads because it was a bit nebulous at times. I thought it could have been more specific. It was sort of like an ebook, and I read it in ebook form. I don't know if it's actually a physical book as well. I joined the mentoring program, so I had access to his ebook form books, and that's the only one of his books that I've read so far. It did have some good examples of people who had prophetic art experiences. Like I said, I created this on canvas board. This is an 8x10 canvas board, and at the time I wanted to make a wall of folk art paintings, and I wanted to have them all 8x10. I'm starting the project over again, and this is one of the sketches that I've done. I don't know if you can see it. I made a sketch on there, and it's done. The sketches are done with, you can barely see it. The sketches are done with watercolor pencil, so that when you put paint on it, it sort of dissolves in and it doesn't show up later on. So that's what I'm up to these days. Mainly just making this video to ask your opinion on prophetic art and what you think of this particular piece of art. It's unfinished art, and it will probably always be unfinished because I just want it to be in the condition that it was prior to the fire. Thank you for listening to my video. Hope to come back with another video tomorrow. If not, you'll know that I quit my daily video project, but right now I don't feel like I'm going to quit. It's just I don't have any ideas for tomorrow that I think are doable, but we'll see what happens.